Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and today is good old Friday. Wow. It is January 14, 2022, and the time right now is 4:37 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I already had my tall glass of water elixir. Yeah. This cold weather here in New York City is really dehydrating. Yeah, people stay hydrated. Wow. So, as you see here on the screen in front of you, I show, hey, let me zoom in if I can. Okay. Yeah, this is, I was just watching some videos already. This is, as you see on Prince Andrew of the United Kingdom. And I'm sure many of you have been hearing about this case with Prince Andrew. Um, yeah, as you see on the screen, um, this was uploaded just yesterday, and it says, with the Queen's approval and agreement, the Duke of York's military affiliations and royal patronages have been returned to the Queen. The Duke of York will continue not, I thought it was interesting, will continue not to undertake any public duties and is defending this case as a private citizen. Wow. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that the British royals, make sure my mic, sorry, it means that the British royal are amputating their arm in order to save the rest of them. Now, this thing has been, this case with Giuffre, uh, an American woman who's now living in Australia. She was trafficked, sexually trafficked to various people, and one of them is Prince Andrew. I should say, allegedly um, sent, trafficked to Prince Andrew. Again, they didn't have a court hearing yet, you know, but the general consensus is that they believe Giuffre, and I believe her also. I believe that she was sent out to different people in, wow, how to say it? It seems like what was being done was that young women, minors, um, were sent out to have sex with prominent people, and then to the people responsible for that, the adults who were responsible for that, would then later try to blackmail the adult individuals for various reasons. I guess to have us say uh, powers, um, to take those powers, or to get things in your favor. It's horrible. It's a very ugly thing. It's a very ugly, ugly thing. And what's something, you know, the prostitution rings, I heard that the average age of when a young female, excuse me, young female, minor, females who are used in the sex trade industry, they either said 11 or 12 or 12 or 13 to enter that occupation, or I should say that torture. It's ugly. When I heard that statistic, to be that young, 11, 12 years old, I think it was 11 and 12, that some adult adult would, I'm sorry, my voice is going, would do that. It's an evil. Um, it's hard for me to really express how I feel about that. It's evil. Um, and just send it back a little bit. Yeah. So it's so shocking to me to learn that statistics because it showed that people, men primarily, who pay for sex are having sex with children many times. And I wish this behavior would stop. And again, I think a lot of these things are done. I know it's getting kind of off the topic. Why are primarily men go to things like that? I really think that the, how do you say, that you have low energy beings in the ether or the spirit world, whatever what you want to call it, that they feed off of your energy and to violate a young female just gives and promotes more energy to these low frequency beings. Yeah, that's what I believe. They exploit human mechanics in order to profit off our energy. And again, like the Matrix, we're here, and they put us through, you know, humans through a lot of different types of trauma, such as sexual trauma. And I think that ultimately that's why it's done. But either way, getting back to the royals. So, my feelings about the royal family now, I live in the United States, in New York. Now, the state of New York was a colony of Britain. It was first taken by the Dutch, and then the British took over. And so they renamed it from New Amsterdam to New York. So that's why we're called New York. It's, I guess, a city in Britain. But there's close ties. The U.S. and Britain has very close ties as a result of Britain having the 13 colonies, primarily, you know, all on the east coast of present-day United States of America. So a lot of things that happen in Britain that the U.S. follows a lot of the news. And I remember growing up, I used to watch, oops, let me put that on, sorry about that. Yeah, this is my monitor that's on, but I have to remember, I have to move the mouse. Maybe make the screen bigger. Sorry about that. So yeah, I have to, remind myself I have to move the mouse because this is a monitor that my computer, my lap, okay, my iPad is recording. Yeah, just to give you something to look at as I talk. Um, yeah, they have a lot of influence over just the news in America. We follow a lot of the news, especially when Princess Diana was alive. You couldn't stop seeing the royals. Um, I feel that the royal family gets away with a lot of stuff. I don't like, I don't like the sexism behind the royals. I feel that a lot of the women are really put up there to perform, that they have to dress a certain way, they have to carry themselves a certain way, while their male counterparts can do things like this, what Prince Andrew allegedly did. The fact that the, um, if the allegations are true, him getting involved with teenagers, being involved with, remember Jimmy Savile? I think that was really pointed to Prince Charles' involvement. But, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Um, and the Queen also, this Jimmy Savile uh, counseled Prince Charles and Princess Diane, their marriage. And this Jimmy Savile, for those who don't know, he was a TV personality in Britain. He I think worked with kids, or like on a kids program. But he was a pedophile, a severe pedophile, and other horrendous things that he was involved with. He did volunteer work in a hospital so that he can have sex with dead bodies. And here, this royal family, Prince Charles, the Queen allegedly knew of it. How is it that these men, royal guys, these royal men, could do so much to have so much involvement? Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Just talking about Prince Andrew here and my general thoughts about the royal family of Britain. But yeah, how is it that the men they have so much leeway, so much more freedoms than the women? The women have to, I'm sorry, this keeps shaking. I have to put this down. The men have to put, the men have so much freedom in their associations. But the women, it seems, are closely watched for everything. So why the double standards? That's what I want to know. You have a queen, and you don't have a king, but you have a queen, and yet such high standards for women to have to follow. And in particular with women is how we look, how we talk, how we sit in dinner tables, how we sit down, how we curtsy. Everything is pointed to this veneer performance of being a royal. But isn't it more important who you associate with? I thought in that caliber, royalty or aristocracy, that it was the utmost importance on who you associate with. Just like even in the United States, about what neighborhood, you have a friend, well, what neighborhood they live in, what neighborhood you live in. It's all about status and show. And that if you even associated with a particular person, that you're considered unclean, so to speak. Why is this? Why is this? So now, after several years of investigation regarding this sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein, who died a couple of years ago in prison. You know, he was arrested for um, sex trafficking and other things. And here, because he died in prison, there was no court. He was supposed to be put on trial, but those titles were pulled from him. You know, uh, but it took all this time just to do this, and it's like for a man to be publicly shamed. And again, his mother. They said that the queen, um, that Prince Andrew is her favorite. So it took this long to just now step up to the game. I think that the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, should have spoken earlier, especially that sexual allegations to underage girls. She is a woman herself, and she represent. I mean, yes, she represents a nation, a kingdom, or queendom in this case. And so she also represents women. And for her to not speak out and want to protect the sanctity of innocence in young girls. So I'm disappointed in the Queen for that she didn't speak out earlier. But if it was a woman in a sex scandal, that they would have been thrown under the bus right away. So I'm angry about that. I'm angry at the double standards that happens between males versus females. If you do wrong, you do wrong, and you handle it, and you know, whatever the punishment to be. So do you think, what about his money? Doesn't the Queen, you know, they're given allowances? So it's really interesting. How far is he going to sink? Yes, he's being pulled of his duties, but money talks. Money talks because, again, as a royal, he gets money. So how is that going to affect him? And again, he has to. I heard he's going to sell one of his homes. It's a multi-million-dollar home that he wants to sell because he needs money to defend himself in court. Do you think he'll go to the U.S. and face Giuffre, his accuser? I hope he does. And I hope he's found guilty. I do believe Giuffre, that she was involved with him. Um, but I think that whole network, yeah, what's her name? Oh, the woman, I forget, Maxwell. Yeah, she was found guilty also. I think 5 or 6 of the charges. Not all. One of the charges she didn't. She wasn't guilty of, but all the remaining ones she was. Yeah, they covered a lot of that out. You know, they didn't. Surprisingly, they didn't air it on. You know, they didn't air the trial on television. Yeah, it just seemed everything was secretive. And then I was told that they sealed up the file so that you couldn't, you know, see details about, you know, again, it's to protect those criminals. It seems like the higher up you go, the more insulated you are. So even in trial, the judge could say, oh, we're going to seal these files. So I don't call that justice. That's not real justice. When you're covering for people, I mean, why even have a damn trial if you're going to seal the records? People have a right to know the involvement of other people. Again, this was a crime that was done against minors, and now you're protecting the criminals who violated these young girls. And that makes me angry. It makes me extremely angry. And again, this favoritism, for example, just look at this Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Now, from the very beginning, is okay, back on. It looks like, yeah, come on. The countess not on right now, but I could at least see the picture on the screen. Yeah, let me continue. Yeah, with those two, yeah, I think it starts to glitch if I mention certain names. So that young couple, they moved to California. Now, from the very beginning, they they remember Prince Harry. He uh, had written up or had his higher ups write a letter, a public message to for people to back off of Meghan Markle. I think it was a good thing that he did say that. You know, that's his girlfriend. So I commend him to to protect his girlfriend, his new girlfriend at the time. And then they marry, and they more and more started to attack her, attack how, everything about her. Oops, sorry. See, I forgot to, sorry, forgot to move the mouse. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, 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 with Meghan Markle, um, they just, day by day, pull her down. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to survive that long, the scrutiny. And I think it was a smokescreen. See, they knew about this case here with Prince Andrew's involvement with underage girls, and with Jeffrey Epstein having a blackmailing the affluent and the influential with underage girls, so you could control them, the the influential people. Yeah, I think it was a smokescreen, so your eyes are off of him, Prince Andrew and the other royals. So they targeted Meghan Markle. It's like she couldn't do anything right. It was more an assassination of her personality. But over the time of the couple living in Britain, I never actually heard her say anything. It was just hearsay, and all about personality. Now, there are other people in the royal families, and they never say a word about them, but they made sure that they uh, try to trash Meghan. Now, again, never. I don't know the woman, never met her in person, anything. In fact, I didn't know who she was. I never watched her TV show. But I think it's unfair when you have things like this with Prince Andrew, or even Prince Charles, who was uh, friends with Jimmy Savile, who was a known pedophile. So again, it's saying it's indirectly saying that certain behavior is okay because of what you are. Here, Meghan had to give, in my opinion, she gave up a lot. She had a career. She had a blog that did very well. Um, she didn't need to even marry him, and she gave that all up. And people say, "Oh yeah, she had everything to gain because she's married into the royal family." But at what cost? Is it worth it to marry someone and you're put under fire and trashed? Everything about when your reputation is out there, You know, that's a big price for any young woman to pay. I believe that she did the right thing. She and Harry did the right thing to move. And yeah, they call them hypocrites. Maybe they are hypocrites, but so what? I mean, why I say it like that? Um, it's known as a royalty. With rank does come privileges. We all know that, and we all would love the same type of privileges, like access to peoples, places, resources, having you know access to fly to anywhere in the world. We would love it, right? So for me, it's no biggie if someone flies on a private jet. If your friend has a private jet and they want to invite me somewhere, that's my prerogative. And they said, well, they talk about climate change and this and that. Is it really going to make much a difference on it? But I do understand I do understand the argument. But I feel the argument was just to trash her. They all take private planes, all of them. And so if they're doing what everyone else does, or the Queen, not to say that you can do things as everybody else does. Two wrongs don't make a right. Yes, I do know that. But in in the scope of things, are they any different than any other royalty out there? So I think they did Meghan and Harry did the wise thing and moved to the U.S. And why I say that is, again, the stress. The stress of living under scandal such as Prince Andrew. Um, and there were allegations against the Queen. Remember the incident, there was a scandal. The Queen and her entourage, when they went to Canada, they went to a school for the indigenous people, and she left with a handful of the children, and these children were never found again. Where did these little children go? There's scandals, there's skeletons out there with the whole family, and they protect one another. What about the lives of those little children in Canada, the indigenous children there? What about their rights? What about their dignity? And who is speaking out for them? So here you have a queen who's now 95 years old. And she'll probably get a very good, have a very good legacy. But no one didn't, they really didn't speak out about that scandal. Like when it was starting to be spoken out, it gets squashed because they have that power of the media. Yeah, Canada is what is what do you call it? Like an not a territory. What do you call it? A commonwealth. It's a Commonwealth of Britain. They have a lot of commonwealths around the world. The royalty of Britain. They control so many nations, and historically, the indigenous people of those commonwealths are suffering. But yet, because of how they look, the royal family, that they wear beautiful uniforms, suits, dresses, jewelry, headgear, and it gives them the veneer of respectability. But respectability without real real actions of being respectable, is it respectable when you are associated with pedophiles and have that pedophile um, give marital advice to the next king of Britain and Princess Diana, the late Princess Diana, it's just really, it gets me angry. That angers me. So yes, Me- Me- Megan is smart, and yes, they trashed her, and they really trashed on her personality. Again, I really hear her even speak in public. But yes, she did do an interview with Oprah. Um, I mean, I asked myself, how would any of us fare if you lived under this family, an old family, and their histories, and being a foreigner living in their country and not having any of your friends or relatives or family with you? It's stressful. It could kill you. And I think they've really made a good choice and left Britain, and now they're in California, and that's her territory, Megan. So I think that they could potentially really thrive there in California as a couple. I think Megan was a plus for Harry. Remember, before they married, before they even knew each other, where was Prince Harry? He was involved in a lot of scandals. See, again, him being a male, he was, I don't want to trash Harry. I like Harry, Prince Harry. You know, again, my thing is not to trash. He was a youngster at the time. He was a teenager, and to have your mother potentially, the mother was killed, and the things that they said about her was horrible. So I feel his pain. Um, but he was far from perfect. But yet they focus on her. She was never into drugs. She wasn't a drinker. She wasn't that. She had a successful, relatively successful career and blogger. I think she turned Harry around and got him dressing better, taking better care of his health. So I say more power to Megan for being a strong anchor and stability force for Harry. Yeah, and I think they knew that London Bridge is going to fall down, and this is what why I think Prince Andrew is being thrown under the bus now, because they know that that this could potentially pull down a lot of things, and so they have to sacrifice. See, this is warfare, and in warfare, sometimes you have the casualties, and so they're willing to sacrifice their arm to save the rest of the body, and that's all what this is. Because see, by disassociating with them, um, it's paying a price to the Americans, the American system, so that they could have this court hearing. Because as a royal, maybe certain things he's not allowed to talk about because conflict of interest of uh, the kingdom of Britain. So if they remove his titles, as you see here, they removed his military affiliations and the royal patronages, as it said here. So with that, they're going to release him and let the piranhas get to him, but at least it's going to save their possible interests. And I think that's all what it is. And I think Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan, saw this happen, saw this coming, said, look, we got to get out of here. And with this lockdown, we got to get out. We're safer in America. And I think they are safer. Why would you want to live on, there'll be a laughing stock, the royal family. It's a laughing stock. And yeah, I think it's going to fall. But right now they're doing damage control and stripping him of his titles in order to save the queen's kingdom or queendom. Yeah, yeah. It is what it is. You have double standards. You have men in royalty who are doing things and not accountable, but the females are put on a higher standard of conduct. And I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. Yeah, yeah, Megan, you did the right thing. They could try to trash you, but who really has the soiled gloves here? Who really does? But people like him, Prince Andrew, and don't forget Prince Charles. Yeah, a lot of skeletons. But yet, they're looked up to, you know, it's horrible. Yeah, I think this is the beginning of, see, paradigms and systems. Oops, sorry about that. Come on, let's go back on. Yeah, see, this is a changing of the guards, I believe. This whole, you know, royal family. Yeah, there are royal families throughout Europe, but they don't get near the attention that the British royalties have. I mean, you have it in Scandinavia, you have it in Spain, Portugal, all over Europe, royal families. But you really hear about them. There is a magazine that does discuss um, European royalties. Some people really like hearing about them. But in the U.S., it's about Britain and really nothing else. I mean, I remember they did talk a little bit about Prince Albert, and they try to shame him. He had a child out of wedlock. It happened twice to him, but yeah, you don't really hear much about him now. Um, but yeah, just, it seems like sex scandals, um, it's how they try to, I mean, what he didn't do anything illegal, Prince Albert. The women that he was involved with were adults. It was consensual. Um, but I guess an embarrassment because, again, you're supposed to be put on a higher standard of conduct. Uh, yeah, it is what it is. But I think this is the beginning of an era of showing that the vulnerability that even royal houses have, that as time goes on, um, people are getting fed up and people don't like the double standard. And again, it's the public, it is the public that gives the royalty the money, their taxes. Their tax dollars goes to support these people. So I think it's about time that the public of Britain demand accountability of behaviors, bad behaviors, and they should be stripped. You're doing something like that, you should have been stripped long ago. And you have all these, watches, right? I believe that you have people who watch your behaviors, your conduct. Because see, this is a business. This royal family is a business. It's bringing in money. and is controlling large numbers of people around the world. And so when you represent them in a negative way, it can pull down the cards. The house of cards could all fall down. So um, it's shameful that they didn't respond right away with him, but they wanted to protect him. If they wanted to protect him, they should have just have, you know, each of these family members should have someone following them to make sure that they behave accordingly, that not to associate with certain people. They had warned him, I think, actually. Yeah, when you meet up, when these royals go to a particular function, the venue is screened. They have to know who they're going to see and what their reputation is. What, what do they have any skeletons in their closet? Yeah, because of association could ruin their, the royal house's reputation and authority, and they'll do anything to protect their image. Yeah, it's a we call a brand. The royal house is a brand, and they want to protect it. Yeah, and anything that represents them, they want to be protected. So yeah, so um, hopefully he gets subpoenaed to come to trial. He should be. Wow, I mean, how far could this go? Could he just not show up? What do you think will happen? Mm, be very interesting. Will he be even what do you call it? Um, like with Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, will the same thing happen if he resists? Will they just remove him and even his life? Will it go that far? Be very interesting. Yeah, um, yeah. This is just could be. Yeah, I believe it's going to be an end of a legacy. Actually, this whole British royal family. The Queen is now, 95. I think she'll be 96 this year. Actually, will Charles become king, or will it jump to William? Personally, I think it should all be dismantled because I think it's archaic now to have a royal house and surviving because you're taking people's, the public's money. See, see, to have a lifestyle like theirs, you need fresh money always coming in. See, even though they have properties and jewelry, other things like that, but you have to liquidate them, in order to, pay your bills. They're not going to sell their homes, their jewelry, so they could collect taxes. So they can dress the way they do, go to places where they go to, and it's all a control thing. Wow, it's like uh, being a slave, and they're the slave masters, and they accept this. Well, I think it's time to wake up, people of Britain. You don't need the royal families to look up to. Look up to yourself. Look up. Don't waste your tax dollars on this type of institution. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. It's a waste of money, and they're gonna look down on you and judge you because how you dress. Well, maybe they should start paying you money. Well, so that's all I want to talk about. Yeah, this is could be the beginning of a new chapter. Yeah, I believe whatever was going to happen to the British royal family, That is going to it's going to be a switch very in the very near future, I believe, um, because of all these scandals and with this pandemic happening too. People getting fed up. People don't like the um, the lack of having, them having their rights more and more and more taken away, and more, impositions upon them through the tests that people, medical, tests that they have to take. It's become so invasive, and people getting tired. Yeah, you should be tired. It's hopefully it's the end of an era of this type of control over the commoners, and to have sovereignty over your personal life. Sovereignty is a beautiful thing to be born with and to live. So that's all that I'm going to talk about today. Peace, love, and joy to you all, and we'll see what's going to happen in all this. Yeah, hopefully this is the end of an era and a rebirth of something that fully represents freedom to the common people. Take care, guys. Bye bye.